Hi, and welcome to the first bookish video of 2025. Today we're going to do a review of the first quarter of the year, what I read, if I liked it, if I didn't, and why. I have my bullet journal, I have my story graph, so I'm ready. Grab something to drink, get comfortable, and let's talk about books. From January to March, I read 7 books, and we start from January, of course. The first book of 2025 was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern for our community main book club. What to say about this book? I read something else by Erin Morgenstern a bunch of years ago. I read The Starless Sea, and in The Starless Sea, I really suffered the quantity of descriptions there were in the book. So I'm gonna be honest, I was pretty scared of starting this one, but from the other side, I was really hyped because I heard many beautiful reviews about it. From the description point of view, this was really good and balanced. Is a lot descriptive, yes, but there is balance, and I really enjoyed this thing. Something that I loved in this book was the mystery, the quantity of mystery that there is, how it's incredibly difficult to figure it out before the end of the book. That means that I was really surprised when I reached the end and I was like, oh, okay, this. I also loved how all the characters in the book are intertwined between them in many different ways, but still the red thread that connects them, it's only one. It was really magical. I read it in Italian. It's called Il Circo della Notte, so the night circus. I gave 4.75 out of 5 to this book. That was a really good start of the year. The second book that I read in January was The Game by Alessandro Baricco. It's an Italian author. It's an analysis on how the digital revolution changed us, the way in which we think, we talk, we act, we live. I found the book incredibly real and also bitey and sarcastic. It's a mix of history, notions, comments from the author, and analysis. It took a little bit to enter the narration for me, but after that, it was a really nice reading. I gave 3.5 out of 5. That's all for January, and we switch to February. That started with no, it's not Sunrise on the Reaping because it was February. I know that the cover it's pretty similar. I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snake for the first time ever, and oh my god, this book. I have so many things to say. First, we start with the rating 5 out of 5. I loved it. I guess you can see how much I loved it. I also read a lot of review and watched a lot of videos about this this book, and I saw how many people complain about the fact that this book wasn't as the previous trilogy. But for me, this book couldn't be like the previous trilogy. This book is not telling you about the game, is not telling you about the world. This book is to get to know a character that we know from the main trilogy, but to understand how he became the character that we know. So I liked it. From this point of view, I also enjoyed so much the fact that this book was in third person and not the first one, because while with the previous trilogy and the first person you kind of had to be in the narration, the third person in this book really puts you outside the book, watching what is going on and understanding what is going on. So really nice. Also, and this is a photo, I hope it's not spoiler, but I'm going to put a little sticker here and you can mute and wait until this sticker is going to disappear. I really liked how in this book, Snow wasn't the villain until the very end, at least from my point of view. Like, do we want to talk about Professor Gaul? That was a real villain. So, again, 5 out of 5, really enjoyed it, really suggested. Next readings in February are two short novels called Just Dinner Part 1 and Part 2. It's a sapphic, cute short story, really, really spicy. The part 1, I can say, was a good 50% between plot. The second one was poor with plot. But hey, I liked it. I gave 3.5 to each. And I needed something light to read after The Ballad of Songbirds and Snake. Then we switched to March, in which I read The Day of the Dice, that it's described as a dystopian Pride and Prejudice. I read Pride and Prejudice. Personally, I didn't see that much of Pride and Prejudice inside this book, but I really love the dystopian vibes inside the narration. Kinda remind me about The Handmaid's Tale, the entire system, not as dark as The Handmaid's Tale is, but still, the vibes were pretty similar. I loved how the book was dystopian from a feminist point of view. About the characters, I found the male characters much more balanced and better than the females one. The protagonist, oh my god, girl, please take a decision and stick to it, because it was a always changing mind and ideas on what to do. And I understand the struggle of being in your situation, but please take a decision and stick to it. But apart this, I definitely enjoyed it. I gave 3.75. I have one thing to say about the end, and it's not spoiler. A part of me wanted the protagonist to take a different decision from the one that she took, but that's me. I enjoyed the ending of the book, and it's really suggested if you like light dystopians. And then we have the last book of the quarter. There was Half a Soul by Olivia Atterwer, read again for our main book club. I found this book had a really good flow. I loved all the characters, how they were described and how they act in the book. All of them, no one excluded. I wish to see a little bit of more changing in the male protagonist, but after the end of the book, I was kind of happy that haven't been this big change that somehow I was expecting. One thing, but that's totally mine. I really struggle with books in which there are fairy protagonists, there are fairy elements, because my brain, and I don't know why, again, I am so sorry to say this, but it's something that I have to say. My brain puts together fairy with childish. And I know that it's not like this because Half a Soul absolutely talks about not childish topics. But hey, that's my brain, and I hope I'm going to be able to change it somehow with the readings. So still, I gave 3.75 again, also to this book. And that's it for my quarter. In April, I already read two books, so April is going strong. One of them is Sunrise on the Reaping, and oh my god. But that's it. Thank you for being here. Let me know what you read in the comments, maybe your favorite book or the book that you didn't like. That would be interesting to know. And I see you in the next video. Bye.